So this week we're looking at the 13 Fishing Omen black spinning rod. I've had this particular rod for about 5 months and have really been putting it through the paces. So let's walk through the features of this rod. One thing that I really like is it's got an EVA grip on the bottom of the butt down here, and then it moves into cork. So it's been my experience that with cork handled rods, cork that goes all the way to the end, it's going to chip. You're going to get chipped cork, and then the blank is going to start to get exposed. Well, they've put a butt and a butt cap on this with EVA, so this rod is not really going to chip. If you drop it, it's going to be okay. Now, luckily, on the Omen Black, it has an exposed blank down here, so you can see right here when you're going to be able to hold it like this, and that your pinky is going to be able to feel that blank. So you can feel sensitivity on the end of the line. So if you've got a real light worm bite or something like that, or you're fishing a shaky head, you're going to be able to tell the difference between the rocks and the fish bites. Now this is the reel seat, and so what happens is the rear grip tightens, and you can see there's molded in plastic screw pattern here, and this just spins and then it comes up and tightens. Cork up top, I'm not really partial either way, EVA or cork. I'm not often holding my rod up here, so sensitivity and that kind of stuff doesn't matter. I guess if I'd make an improvement to it, I'd probably go ahead and turn that into EVA just so there wouldn't be any chipping and wear and tear on that, because that's another spot that's probably going to hit a boat edge in a kayak and eventually chip and wear. You've got a hook keeper or line keeper right here. Now, the way that that's positioned, that's on the top. So when you're using spinning line, it's going to come up, and then it's going to attach to the top. So it's going to keep it out of the way of the bail. You're not having to connect it down here or on the underside. So when you spin it to tighten it up, it's not going to get tangled. So that's pretty good. One thing about that keeper, though, that keeper is pretty darn tight. Like it is really on there. And so I've had a hard time sometimes with hooks or line, getting it actually seated in that little gap right there where it needs to go, and getting it to stay. And I'm afraid I'm gonna get that blank messed up, because it's not protected. As you can see, this is kind of a matte finish. This is a bare blank. It doesn't really have a lot of shine or gloss or any kind of epoxy or anything on it. So that's one of the things. I wish they'd just put a little, a little rectangle keeper there or something a little easier. But that's a real nitpicky thing. It is a 7.3, so it's rated for 3/16 to 5/8. I've thrown everything from 1/16 ounce all the way up to probably about a 1/2 ounce on it. I don't throw much over a 1/2 ounce on a spinning rod, regardless. But I can tell you that this rod has handled everything that I've thrown at it. We've got a good action on this rod. So this is a medium power with a fast tip, but it acts more like, so in the 7.3 model, in this Omen Black, it acts more, their medium acts more like a medium heavy in a lot of different lines. You'll notice that if you go from company to company with their spinning rods, one guy's medium is another guy's ultralight, and one guy's medium heavy is another guy's extra heavy, and it varies, so you really have to kind of get a feel for the rod. Large guides all the way down, there's no micro guides or anything. You really don't want that with spinning gear. When you get into spinning gear, as that turns, you've got a lot more line flat, and if you run it through micro guides, you're going to run into some issues a lot of times. So you've got the bigger guides, which are kind of standard, and I've not really had any bending issues. That's one of the big things with spinning rods is when you're tough on rods, you tend to bend a lot of the eyes and the eye keepers down. They get bent all the time. This one's really not had that issue. I won't say that there's extra strong or anything like that, but I have noticed less eye bend on the rod. Points of improvement, we've talked about a couple of different things, but really we need to get down to the nitty-gritty. Is this rod worth the buy? So here's a dirty little secret on the Omen Black. So I happened to find this one on clearance for $60. At a $60 rod, I think it's well worth the money. I'd buy these all day at 60 bucks. It's usually priced right around 100, which makes it tricky because that's kind of the top of our rod point. So at $100, I like it, but I don't know that it's a surefire, I'm going to buy this every time, if that makes sense. I think there are very comparable rods that are out there that are available for that $60 price point. So let's talk about a couple of ratings. So we'll give them green hat ratings. As you can see, the KBF Mag original hats were green, so we'll give them green hats. So price point, scale of 1 to 5. I'm going to give it 3 green hats for its MSRP. I think it's a touch high priced. So 3 green hats on that. Now let's talk about functionality and performance. I really like the way the rod performs. I think it performs very well. It does what it says it's going to do, and then actually a little bit more, which is a great thing in my book. So green hats, I'm going to go 4 green hats on functionality and performance. So now we need to look at components. Let's talk about the way the rod's built, the pieces and parts that are in it. So the better the components, the higher the rating. And for the components on this one, I wish they'd change out the hook keeper. I don't know that they need the EVA foam dam on the reel seat. I think they could have done that a little different. But I did like the EVA on the rod butt. Really like that. And give them extra marks for the durability of the eyes. So I'm going to go 4 green hats on components and build. So 4 green hats on components and build. So that gives us 4 green hats, 4 green hats, and 3 green hats. So for those of you that are good in math, that is 11 total points. So 11 points, 11 green hats for the Omen Black. A perfect score would be 15. So this is an 11 out of 15. That's going to wrap us up for this week. Now, if you want to get those notifications every time we post a new Everyman review, do us a favor. Go ahead and subscribe right here. Yep, that's it. Right there. Yep, right there. Subscribe. Subscribe. There you go. Perfect. Thank you. Now, if you also want to keep up with our other reviews that we do that don't fit in the Everyman Series criteria, and you want to see news and articles from around the fishing industry, what you can do is you can click on this link right here. Boom. Yep, that one. Yep. If you'll click on that link, that'll take you to our Facebook page, the Kayak Fishing Blog Facebook page. You can give us a like, get notified every time we post up something new. We have new content almost every single day. Stuff that's going on in the fishing industry, tournament updates, new lures that are coming out, all kinds of stuff. One more thing before I let you go. If you want to see something in the Everyman series, you've got, let's say, a reel that's under 80 bucks, a rod that's under 100 bucks, or some baits that are under $10, or maybe even some fishing line that's under $15, leave it in the comments down below. Yeah, right down there. Just put in a comment, say, hey, we'd love to see this. We've got lots more stuff coming this year. We've got 22 items already on the docket that are ordered and on their way that we're going to be reviewing. So, up here, subscribe. Yep. Over here. Yep. Right there. Go ahead and like us on Facebook. And then down there, yep, leave a comment. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.